zauzmete svoje mjesto za koji trenutak riječ. Hvala lijepa. Studentskom himnom. Dame i gospodo, poštovani gosti i uzvanici, dragi prijatelji, svima vam želim dobar dan. Dobrodošli u Amfiteatar ovdje na kampusu Boronga i dobrodošli na Fakultet prometnih znanosti u Zagrebu. Dobrodošli na Radionicu Mogućnosti financiranja alumni aktivnosti iz fondova Europske unije. Evo ovaj skup organizira Hrvatska udruga diplomiranih inženjera i inženjera Fakulteta prometnih znanosti u Zagrebu. Malo prije su ovdje imali izbornu skupštinu, mnogi od vas ste i na njoj bili, zajedno sa Savezom društava bivših studenata Sveučilišta u Zagrebu. A bivši studenti su u centru pozornosti gotovo svih visokoškolskih ustanova diljem zapadnog svijeta. Kako se u Hrvatskoj danas radi s alumnima koji su na velikim sveučilištima u svijetu glavni donatori i glavni promotori svojih bivših fakulteta? Imamo li mi uopće uređen registar bivših studenata? Znamo li tko su oni? Znamo li kakve karijere imaju? I za našu današnju temu najvažnije pitanje od svih, kako iskoristiti fondove Europske unije za financiranje rada s alumnima, odnosno za provođenje najraznovrsnijih projekata. Koji projekti su mogući, te kakva su iskustva različitih svjetskih sveučilišta, ne samo europskih, jer ćemo danas otići do Sjedinjenih država, upravo na tom polju, dakle polju rada s alumnima. Čitav niz pitanja nameće se na početku ovog našeg današnjeg druženja, koji će svojim uvodnim pozdravnim govorom otvoriti čovjek koji nam je domaćin ovdje. Dame i gospodo, pozdravimo prodekana Fakulteta prometnih znanosti Sveučilišta u Zagrebu, profesora doktora Marka Šoštarića. Birajte, evo, mikrofon može ovdje ili ovaj moj zvuk.
Evo, ja vas sve lijepo pozdravljam danas ovdje u ime dekana Fakulteta prometnih znanosti profesora Mlinavića, u ime cijele uprave fakulteta i u svoje osobno ime. Evo, posebno pozdravljam i domaćine, odnosno našu udrugu i ostale uvažene goste, predsjednika Alumni Saveza na Sveučilištu profesora Šafrana, našeg novog izabranog predsjednika udruge na fakultetu, kolegu Marija Klisura, i posebno pozdravljam i našeg uvaženog emeritusa i bivšeg dekana profesora Ivana Dadića, našeg bivšeg dekana profesora Čedomira Ivakovića i našeg uvaženog profesora i bivšeg prodekana profesora Stanislava Pavlina, tako da evo, dobrodošli na fakultet i dobrodošli na ovo događanje organizirano od strane naše udruge Alumnija. Alumni, kao i za svako drugo sveučilište i svaki drugi fakultet, tako su posebno važni i za naš fakultet. Neki od naših bivših studenata, odnosno alumnija, su danas najizvrsniji evropski i svjetski stručnjaci u području prometa, logistike ili aeronautike. Neki od njih su i voditelji, odnosno članovi uprava važnih poduzeća iz sektora prometa i logistike u Republici Hrvatskoj. Neki od njih su čak i gradonačelnici ili načelnici općina, odnosno obavljaju razne važne funkcije u hrvatskom društvu i u hrvatskom gospodarstvu. Do sad smo kao fakultet njegovali odnose sa našim alumnijima, bili smo njima podrška kad god im je trebalo vezano za neka njihova znanja ili neke njihove potrebe koje su imali od naših fakulteta. Također nismo se ustručavali i njih moliti za pomoć i za promociju našeg fakulteta, a vjerujem da će naša udruga sa tim aktivnostima nastaviti dalje, posebno sad evo pod predsjedanjem našeg novog mladog kolege Marija Faka. Tako da evo, ja vam želim uspjeh na današnjem ovom događanju, odnosno ovom okruglom stolu i vjerujem da će se otvoriti neke nove teme i neke nove vizije, a posebno da ćemo čuti neke zanimljive priče od naših alumnija sa sveučilišta iz Europe i svijeta.
Hvala lijepo profesoru Šoštariću na ovom lijepom pozdravnom govoru. A mi idemo i korak dalje. Čuli smo dakle da je danas ovdje održana izborna skupština Hrvatske udruge diplomiranih inženjera Fakulteta prometnih znanosti. S nama je novi predsjednik udruge Marin Fak, koji pozivam da nam se pridruži, da uzme mikrofon, da čujemo kakav je govornik vaš novi predsjednik.
Još jedan put da se svima zahvalim na izboru na mjesto predsjednika AMAC-FSC-a, pogotovo iz razloga što je udruga nedavno proslavila 20. obljetnicu i evo, mene je dopala čast i zadovoljstvo da povedem udrugu u treće desetljeće postojanja. Nadam se da ćemo kroz ovaj period koji predstoji uspjeti povezati alumnije Fakulteta prometnih znanosti i napraviti i ostvariti neke dobre suradnje. Evo sad ćemo na radionici imati priliku vidjeti neke buduće mogućnosti za financiranje udruge, što je zapravo i najbitnije od svega. Eto, hvala.
Hvala lijepa, dobar je govornik. Kratka govora prije 3 minute, dozvoljno da ću morati pozdraviti skup. Molim vas, pozdravite ga velikim pljeskom. A rad udruge će nam predstaviti Darko Babić, koji je pripremio neke slajdove kroz koje ćemo doslovno proletjeti. Gospodine Babiću, evo mikrofon je vaš, a i slajdovi su spremni.
Zahvaljujem se. Marija, kad smo ja i Mario bili predsjednici, nas nije gospodin Togonal predstavljao, tako da uopće ne razumijemo zašto. To je takva čast koju rijetko koju dobio, tako da to treće desetljeće zapamtiš.
Ono se je veliki pljesak i za gospodina Darka Babića, da se nastiše za posla.
Ja ću prezentaciju odraditi na engleskom, imamo samo par slajdova radi naših gostiju koji su izvana, tako da ja ću krenuti onda na tu varijantu. Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Darko Babić and I will present our Alumni Association at the Faculty of Transport and Traffic Sciences from the University of Zagreb. I will just say hello to, now I don't see who is online, our guests from Belgium, our guests from University of Hasselt and our guests from Michigan State University. So hi, and I see here maybe Patricia. Lisa is here, okay, I hope that Marty will be there. Yeah, Patricia. So hello to everyone, and after a few of my slides you will have the floor will be yours. We can go for the next slide. Just I know that we all here, we know our basic facts of our university. So just put everything on. But I would like to show our guests how our university looks like and what are the main facts. So we are a public university, a very old one, established in 1669. Well, in this part, Southeastern Europe, we are the oldest and biggest university. We are placed in the city of Zagreb, it's capital of Republic of Croatia. Maybe for our guests it will be a little bit strange to see that we have 31 faculties and 3 art academies in our university. This is usually not the case in Western universities. We have all levels of degrees, so bachelor, master's and doctoral degrees, and we cover all kind of science, so arts, biomedicine, engineering, humanities, so everything is represented in our university. Students around 65,000 and academic staff is 7,500, so really big university. So one of these 31 faculties is our faculty. Darko, please, next page. So our faculty of Transport and Traffic Sciences, we are placed now here in the campus Borongaj, in our facilities. We are not so old as our university, so you can see we are established in 1984, and we have also all three levels of education, so bachelor, master, and doctoral degrees, and we go from 2005, we are covering everything by the Bologna system. Teaching staff 122 and non-teaching staff 120, students 1,810. So not so big numbers as the university, but for a faculty which is really oriented on pure on transport and traffic, these numbers are really high. So we do not cover all aspects of how should I say, civil engineering or using transport in a way of infrastructure and so on. We cover transport and traffic planning as a mean of, we just teach this. So we are purely transport and traffic faculty, not connected to the civil engineering. And this is important to say because, for example, also the guests from Belgium and the Michigan State University, they don't have purely transport faculty or department. They are embedded in civil engineering or some other department. I hope they will explain a little bit better. So we can go to the Alumni Association. At our faculty, everybody said, yeah, we have 20 years now celebrating this year. It was the last month was the anniversary. And we were among the first alumni association at the University of Zagreb. Here we have our distinguished professors who established the association 20 years ago. So thank you very much. You can see that we are still working even after 20 years. We are still here. Of course, we are a voluntary organization with voluntary work and members. This is plus and this is minus, of course. And of course, we started with mixed members from faculty and private and public sector. Now, these days, not so much public sector active members are working closely with us. Of course, they are mostly oriented on their own daily work. So members from the faculty are most active in this association, but I hope that with new decade we will change also these kind of things. What are our main activities? From 2004 we are organizing scientific conference. It's called Science and Development of Transport. Organized invited lectures of alumni members, organized roundtables, and also this is one example of the things that we organized in the past 20 years. Of course, we have a close cooperation with Alumni University Association. So my colleague here, Professor Shafran, he is the president of Alumni Association of the whole university. And on the end, well, this is our main activity that I just put it here, that we say that we are not financed from the university or from the faculty. We talked about this in our meeting before, and also I hope that this can be changed in next few years. Not that we are asking for funding by the university or faculty, but that we will try to find some ways of financing, and this is this workshop maybe can be the first step. What are the main challenges? I think that everybody can say that, of course, we have a lot of members, but not so many are active. If we go back, when I said that it's voluntary based, so of course it's considered like this. Students do not recognize the importance of alumni. That's also the fact. Lots of students, they finish faculty and they really don't know what alumni means. So we should try to work on that. Problem with attracting new members, with financing of alumni activities. These are the things that has to be worked on for sure, and these are the big challenges. And low visibility of alumni. So this is connected to the fact that students do not recognize it. Unfortunately, alumni is not so visible on the level of our faculty and maybe on the level of the university also. I will be happy to hear experiences from Belgium and experiences from US. I think US is completely different system, so we'll be happy to hear what and how they have or they handle their alumni. I think it's the last slide. So what are the goals for the future for the new president? Of course, we will help him. Let's try to recruit new members and try to make them active, some of them at least. Social networks, communicating channels are everywhere around us, and we can use them, of course. I'm not so big expert in these social networks, but that's why we choose mixed leadership with young people and not so young anymore, so we can just combine this experience and technology. Event, it's always nice to meet people, so the idea is to organize some kind of alumni event, at least 2 or 3 per year. My colleague Mario is doing this on the level of university very good. So something like that can be also organized in our association. Applying for projects from transport area in which interested members can be involved. This is something very interesting. We tried a couple of years ago. We had some applications for some projects, but I think with the expertise from our new president and the new leadership, this can be also moved, because this can give us extra financing. So when I said we will try to raise the financing level, I didn't mean asking money from university or faculty, but if the dean will give us something, we will not refuse, of course. So it's always an option. Try to get external donations. I think also you will see US, Michigan State University, how they are financing themselves. I think quite interesting to see donation level. I hope that they will explain a little bit. And of course, try to get financing from the faculty and the university. This is on the end. Yeah, these are basic things about us. Thank you very much for listening to me. Of course, we can discuss later and answer the questions if there will be some questions, especially from our guests from abroad. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This was very useful information for our future debates. Možete malo jači pljesak, stvarno je zaslužio. Sad vrijeme da čujemo ta najavljena međunarodna iskustva. Prvo ćemo do Belgije, do istoka zemlje, gdje u flamanskom Hasseltu djeluje sveučilište, osnovano 1971. godine, malo je mlađe od naših zagrebačkog sveučilišta. A kakva su njihova iskustva u radu s alumnima i povlačenju sredstava iz europskih fondova, doznaćemo od naših gošći. Well, now it's time for these international experiences. We will first go to Belgium, to the east of the country, to the University of Hasselt, and we will find out about their experiences with alumni and withdrawing funds from European Union. Please welcome Patricia Hellriegel and Assistant Professor Anne Neven. Take the floor, please. Can you hear me? The microphone is yours. Ladies. I would like to call our guest from Belgium, from Hasselt. Can you hear me? Patricia Hellriegel will be first one. And you will have to turn on your microphone on your laptop or computer.
Yes, hello, I'm here.
Great, now we can hear you also, so the floor is yours, and please, we all listen to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. actually, sorry, something just changed. Actually, Anne was going to present first, and I would interject when it was my turn. I don't know if that's possible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yours.
Good afternoon. I was struggling with sharing my screen, but I think you should be able to see you and hear me. So then I will start with sharing my screen. Can you see my screen already?
Yes, we can hear and see your screen, and we can see the title Mobilumni.
Yeah, okay, that's perfect. That's the first slide. So welcome everybody. Thank you for the invitation to give a short talk about our Alumni Association. My name is Anne. I am an assistant professor at the Transportation Research Institute of Hasselt University. I am one of the first graduates of our Bachelor and Master in Transportation Sciences, and I am part of the board of Mobilumni. And my colleague Patricia, she is also involved in the alumni working, and she is a staff member of Education and Internationalization. So we will do a double presentation today to tell you a bit more about our Alumni Association. Maybe first to start, we are also not embedded in a faculty, but we are a different or a separate school of transportation sciences. So we have a bachelor and master in transportation sciences, but we are a separate school in our University of Hasselt. I will first start with giving some practical short information about who are the members of our Alumni Association, what is the number of members that we have. Well, our Alumni Association, which is called Mobilumni, it's meant for all the alumni of our Dutch-speaking program, which is called Mobiliteitswetenschappen, as well as the English program, Transportation Sciences. And it's both for the regular students, or for the regular bachelor and master students, but also for the distance learner students. So all alumni of our bachelor and master program will be automatically a member of Mobilumni, and they don't have to pay a fee, so everybody is automatically a free member of Mobilumni. We are founded in the end of 2011, so after 2 years of the first graduated students. So unfortunately, we forgot to celebrate our 10 years graduation, but we are existing, we exist, a bit more than 10 years by now. And in total, we have around 330 master alumni, of which most of them are Dutch-speaking, but we also have a part of English-speaking and distance learning students. So as you can see, we are a rather small educational program. I think if we compare it with the numbers that you showed in the previous presentation, we are only a quite small educational program. So we also have a rather small or a rather limited number of alumni. If you think about the different activities, and I will give some examples later on in this presentation, we see that on average around 15 to 20 alumni attend an activity. So it also depends on the type of activity and also the location where we organize activities. But also here it's rather a small activity, and it's only a small number of alumni that attend our activities. And as said, we are a small educational program, which means that we also have a limited number of alumni. The advantage is that it's a rather small world, so we had a us versus them feeling, so everybody knows each other well. But also this is a bit declining, because the first graduates already graduated more than 10 years ago, and they don't know the more freshly alumni that well anymore. Which will also give some challenges, but we will also explain later in this presentation. Why did we launch, why did we set up an alumni association? Well, in Flanders, but also beyond Flanders, we have a unique academic program of Bachelor and Master in Transportation Sciences, and we wanted to create a network of international mobility experts, both by all the graduates of our Transportation Sciences program, and also indirectly with the entire field. Through the secondary context of alumni, we could create an international network of all people who are involved with transportation. What do we do, or how do we maintain our network? Well, I think it's a bit similar as in the previous presentation. We also organize some activities. Typically, it's a mix between formal and informal activities. On average, we have 2 activities per year, but of course it was a bit lower during Corona. But the idea is that we will organize several activities per year in order to maintain this network. As said, we have both Dutch-speaking students and international students, and most activities that we organize are also suited for both types of students. And if we think about financing of the activities, well, we also have an alumni university association, or we have a university association, which is also dealing with all the different alumni associations of the different faculties. And for most activities, we are partly financed by Hasselt University. So we get a small fee for each participant that will attend several activities. When we organize an activity, we also ask a small fee from the participants, just to avoid that when they register, that they will not show up. But if we ask them a small fee, then we are sure that they will also show up if they are registered. So that's the idea why we also ask a fee from the participants to attend the activities. What are the type of activities that we organize? Well, as said, it's a mix between formal and informal activities. So we started in 2011 with a debate about electric vehicles, which was quite innovative at that moment. And then, as you can see in the list here, we also combined it with some more informal activities. For example, we did paintball and we organized a barbecue. We had some site visits at some construction works. We had a lecture by Una Elvik, who is a traffic safety expert. We did a cycling tour and a driving course. And we also organized several events, for example, an event about new urban mobility devices, as you can see on the picture, but also some network events about autonomous vehicles, about mobility and drones. And the idea here is that first we have a lecture, which is a bit more formal, and then afterwards we have the network events by some drinks, some sandwiches, some desserts, by which alumni can also network together, and it's a more informal type of activity. How do we communicate with our alumni? And also this is a bit a challenge. Well, we have a Facebook group, which is called Msu Alumni Transportation Sciences U Hasselt. We also have a LinkedIn page, but I must say that that LinkedIn page is not that popular. Not all alumni are a member of our LinkedIn group. And we also have an email address, which is managed by the alumni board members, by which we also come in contact with our alumni. Originally, we also had a website of Msu Alumni, but we are also a voluntary association, so we had too little time and too little manpower to update it regularly. So this is why we have now hidden our website, and if you go to the website, you are directly linked to the Facebook page. And the idea is that via this Facebook page, it's not only that we from the school can communicate to the alumni, but also the alumni themselves can also post some messages, for example, about job possibilities. So you've seen in this Facebook group that this is the most popular way of communicating with the alumni. If we organize some activities, well, we post it on Facebook, but we also send some invitations via email. Also here, keeping up to date the alumni database with all the correct information of our members is quite difficult, so this is why we also created our own database or our own overview, to be sure that if we organize an activity or if we want to come into contact with some alumni, that we also have the correct contact details in order to inform them. But as said, the Facebook page, this is the most used form of communication in Msu Alumni. We see that we have 161 members. Of course, this is not a complete number of graduates that we have. So people are not interested anymore to get into contact with Msu Alumni. But we see that in this Facebook page that we have regular posts, both from the alumni themselves, but also from the school to the alumni. Besides, we also have a transportation sciences network, and I think this is a good moment to give the floor to Patricia to explain a bit more about this.
Yes, indeed, I will take over in a sense. The Transportation Sciences Network has grown from a need to have a more online virtual community for our alumni, and especially our international alumni. Because many of our students, they are not just international, so from neighboring countries, but they actually come from very far away, and over 60% of them come from also low and middle income countries. And it is hard to reach them with the events we organize, of course, here on campus. So the Transportation Sciences Network is a platform which offers a number of opportunities for the students to connect with each other. It's a type of social media platform also. It looks in a sense a lot like Facebook, but it is closed to members, and it is fully focused on transportation in transportation issues that are specific to developing countries, I would say. What we also find very important is to involve the students and the alumni themselves in updating and keeping the community alive and also growing it. Therefore, we know that we need to make it very relevant to them, and what is relevant to them is, of course, internship and job opportunities, but also posting about relevant events, conferences, etc. Currently, we have about 250 members, but in a sense, it's still a quite young community, and I know not all of these members are very active on the platform, so that is also something that we are working on in the future. We see our alumni, our international alumni also, as very important ambassadors for the university in their home countries. Of course, they will help attract new students, tell about how they studied with us, of course, but also in the future we collaborate with them in research projects, and we ask them to give guest lectures in our program, etc. So there is a very nice cooperation in the long term. So here's just a few slides giving you an impression of the Transportation Science Network. As you will see, it's actually in terms of funding, because such a platform is of course not free. We can rely on funding from VLIG-US, which is a Flemish inter-university council for development cooperation. And we try to use this platform also for dissemination of all project outputs, so all the resources and the learning materials that we create in front of our program. So this is an example. So we have some free online courses on there, but more importantly, we are now creating more materials and video lectures and webinars to put on there to make the platform much more attractive. It's what is on there now is just the start. So in the coming 3 years, we have a concrete plan to really develop and expand. Yes, that's also, so next to the e-learning courses, we also publicize events that we organize, but also just in general interesting events for any of our alumni and students. And a third category is then that community, that I told you about. It's quite Facebook-like, if you will, and the students and us, we all post interesting messages on it.
Okay, and here you will also see that we also posted the announcement of the race safety summer school in Zagreb, so I think
yes, I think
you will also.
It was posted by our partner themselves, so that's nice that we also have. So it's not only just our students and alumni; it's all our also our partners and everyone who's interested in the transportation field. That is welcome here. Yes.
Then I will continue with some challenges of our alumni association, and I think they are maybe a bit similar as what we have also seen in the previous presentation, so I think this is maybe common in different alumni associations. Some types of challenges that we experience, well, as said, we have both a Dutch-speaking or Flemish bachelor and master, and we also have an international master program, which means that we also have different types of alumni. And sometimes it's quite difficult because we have a distinction between the Flemish alumni who typically stay in Belgium after graduation and who will also come to more face-to-face or physical events. And on the other hand, we have the international alumni who go back to their home country, and for this we also have the Transportation Sciences Network, as Patricia explained. But to organize some activities, it's difficult to take into account the needs of the different types of the alumni. Also, if we think about organizing activities, or if we have to think about what is a good location for organizing an activity, also here we have, let's say, a decentralized weight of the alumni. We have some alumni who live in the province of Limburg, which is in the neighborhoods of Liebenbeek, of our campus, but we also have some alumni who live in other parts of the country, so it's sometimes difficult to choose where should we organize an activity. And we see that if we organize some activities in our own campus, typically these activities are the most popular, but then the attendance is mostly by people who live in the neighborhood, so it is sometimes difficult to choose. Also here, and I think this is again a bit similar with your own alumni association, if you think about attracting new, fresh alumni, let's say, as board members, it's quite difficult because they don't have a link with people who are in the board now. On the other hand, the current people who are a member of the board, they also have a family life, they are continuing their career, so they also have less time for organizing activities. So that's sometimes a challenge to have enough time to organize some new activities. And also if we think about the attendance of the activities themselves, as said, it's around 15 to 20 people, which is quite limited, but also here it's difficult to attract both the younger or let's say fresh alumni, as well as the older alumni to attend activities that we organize. Also here, if we think about the central communication, but this is more related to our university. Typically they communicate in Dutch, so we also have to take into account the needs for the language of the international alumni. Another challenge that we experience is the database. We have the risk of losing contacts if alumni don't keep their contact details updated. So this is why we also created our own database, by which we also look on LinkedIn if we see that an alumni changed the job, for example, that we also update it ourselves in our database to make sure that we also have the correct contact details. And the last challenge is about organizing activities. Sometimes it's difficult to organize a new, exciting, fun, affordable, as well as a well-located activity, which will also attract enough alumni, and which will also attract different alumni from the different graduation years. To end with some objectives or activities that we want to organize this year, well, as said, the idea is that we will organize around 2 activities each year. So also in 2022, we aim to organize several activities, which is a combination of formal and informal activities, by which we also have some space for networking, and by which we also get a small support from the Central Alumni Association of the University of Hasselt to keep the costs limited for the participants. And some specific activities or events that we are thinking about for this year. First one is a kind of network event by which we have both the current students as well as some alumni who will give some alumni talks, some short presentations about their career, and by which we again have some network opportunities between the current students and the alumni. And the idea is that here we want to organize it in a hybrid format that both the Flemish people can attend physically, but by which the international alumni can also join this event in a digital way. And that we will also do it together with the Student Association of Transportation Sciences in order to increase the number of attendance. Another event that we are thinking about is the event at Trooiport, which is a campus environment related to startups, companies, but also research institutions who work with drones. But this is something that we still have to elaborate, but we think that this type of event will also be attractive for our alumni. And I think that this was our last slide. So again, thank you for the invitation, and in case you have some questions, please let us know.
Thank you very much, Anna and Patricia. Yes, please give us a big applause. I have a question for you. You know, we in Croatia have a problem with active members of the association. We have many members, but not so active. But I can see that you have a solution for that. Paintball and barbecue. I want to go to Hasselt.
Yeah, I must say that this was the second activity that we organized, and at that moment we still had a high attendance or a high number of people that joined. But maybe indeed we have to still organize a paintball activity this year.
Great, great.
It can help to
some,
attract more people.
Some former professors in the association, then they can be in the opposite team. You can shoot them then, huh?
That's a good idea. This will attract more students and alumni, I think.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the audience? Not so far. Okay. Then bye-bye Hasselt. Thank you very much. Mi idemo dalje. Dame i gospodo, ovo je zamišljeno dakle kao interaktivna rasprava, pa svi ste pozvani sudjelovati. Biće dovoljno da dignete ruku, ja ću vam prići sa bežičnim mikrofonom i vi ćete moći postavljati pitanja našim prezenterima, predavačima, pa ne skanjujte se to učiniti. A vrijeme sad da odemo u Sjedinjene države, idemo na američki srednji zapad, idemo u Lansing, blizu Velikih jezera, gdje već 167 godina djeluje Michigan State University. Na njemu studira gotovo 50.000 studenata, a oni posebnu pozornost posvećuju radu sa svojim alumnima. Organiziraju, pazite sad ovo, organiziraju egzotična putovanja bivših studenata, izdaju poseban alumni magazin, povezuju svoje bivše studente na svim kontinentima. Što konkretno rade, doznat ćemo od naših gostiju. It's time to go to the United States, to American Midwest, to Lansing, where Michigan State University has been operating for 167 years. Almost 50,000 students study here, and they pay special attention to alumni. They organize alumni trips, publish an alumni magazine, and connect alumni on all continents. We'll find out what exactly they are doing from Martin Bailey and Michael Lindhout. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very, very loud and clear. Take the floor, please.
Good afternoon. Well, Lisa Parker is going to be joining us today. Lisa is the Executive Director at the Alumni Association at Michigan State University. And we will, Lisa will provide a 30,000-foot vantage on what we're doing at Michigan State. And then I think that we'll be able to have questions and answers after that. So, Lisa, would you like to take the floor?
Yes, thank you, Marty, and hello to everyone. I wish we could be there in the room with you. It's a bit dreary in East Lansing, Michigan today. It is correct that we have a very different alumni format than what many participants here may be used to. Michigan State was founded in 1855, and I don't know the exact date, but I believe we have had alumni outreach for nearly 100 years in our institution, and our alumni have been involved in things like creation and funding of buildings that have come into place on our campus. They've been involved with things like scholarships. Education is funded differently in the U.S. It's quite expensive to attend a university like Michigan State. So we have our alumni involved in a variety of things. I wanted to give you just a basic overview of what alumni structure is, but then I really wanted to spend most of our time talking about what we do with students, because Darko did communicate to us that they really see an opportunity to socialize students to the alumni experience and hopefully convert them into more engaged alumni in the future. So that's what I'm actually going to spend most of the time talking about. Big picture view though, we have a central alumni office, which I am part of, and then we have alumni representatives in each of our colleges, which I believe some of you refer to as faculty. We have 17-degree granting colleges that have an alumni assignment, somebody there. They may be tasked with multiple responsibilities, but they are the person that coordinates the most with our central office, so we can have aligned efforts. And we have two of our largest schools, our School of Packaging, which is known globally, and our School of Hospitality Business that is fortunate to also have a designated alumni professional. Our office has a reporting structure that is under a vice president of university advancement that oversees all of the university's philanthropy and all of the university's efforts to engage the public and alumni in the research efforts and funding efforts and student success efforts of Michigan State. This is just a slide. I'm not going to go over it all that in depth, but you will have access to these slides after the fact. That gives you a sense of our current student population and kind of how it's changed over the years. When we're looking at alumni and when we're looking at students, we tend to put them into categories. Our students that are within the state of Michigan, which is where East Lansing is in the United States, which is our largest draw of students. Our students that are domestic but out of state, and of course our international students. And each of these student populations and alumni populations have some unique interests and needs. In terms of our alumni, we have about 525,000 living alumni. The types of engagement opportunities that we have are not, some of them are similar to what has been described, others may be different. We have volunteer-led metropolitan and region-based alumni clubs. They have volunteer leaders, they have their own boards that we attempt to resource in some fashion and connect to campus. We have affinity groups, and it could be affinity by interest, by profession, by a particular experience that they had on campus that also have a board structure. We have virtual, in-market, and on-campus programming. Some of it is exclusively for alumni, but where we can, we try to create ways for alumni to participate in things that are already existing that saves us some money. And also creates the opportunity for them to mix a little bit more with our faculty and students. We have volunteer opportunities, campus, communities where people live, panelists, judging opportunities, sponsoring of student projects. We call them capstone projects in the United States. I'm not sure what that looks like in your various institutions. We have alumni advisory boards. We have alumni awards that are given out at the college level, program level, and also all university. We have corporate partnerships. Oftentimes that is for career. Sometimes it's also for finding research collaborative opportunities between university and industry. We have a strong social media presence across all relevant platforms, and we do have publications. Was referenced, we have a magazine, yes. We also have monthly emails that go out to alumni, sometimes by market, but usually across the whole base. These are just screenshots of our website, which you can refer to at a later time, but you can see how it breaks down the different ways for alumni to connect. It shows them how to find our alumni groups that we referenced around the country. It shows them the types of events that we have that people can sign up for to participate in, and it gives an easy place for people to find the links to our social media. We are always upgrading our website. It seems like you finish it and you have to start again because there's new trends and changes. So what I wanted to say real quickly though, before we go into the piece about students is we ask ourselves questions all the time to try to figure out what we should be doing in the space of our alumni work and what we should be doing with students. And these are questions that you probably ponder as well, but I just wanted to put them in front of you just as a reminder, because sometimes when we're trying to figure out how to make alumni get involved more or figure out funding for our alumni offices, we're not as specific as we need to be when we're trying to recruit support internally or externally. So these are just questions that we ask in a broad way, and then we also ask it of ourselves in the individual things that we are planning. And it's really those basic why, what's, how, and who. So why does your institution want alumni to be engaged? I mean, like specifically, we might know that more engaged alumni in the United States means more individuals who are willing to donate to the institution and help us fund things like scholarships and specific research. Or we know that the more alumni who are involved and the more aware they are, the more they can help us advocate in the space of like politics and government when we're trying to get certain legislation passed or certain funding things passed at the state or federal level. We want to ask the question, why would alumni wish to be engaged? Because sometimes we're thinking so much about what we want from them, but we have to really ask what's going to be the gain for them. What will be different when more alumni are engaged? They want to know why participation truly matters. How does them giving up this time make their institution better, make things better for students? What specific involvement and actions are desired, not just join? What do we want them doing? What does an engaged alum look like in our institution in the best possible way? How can alumni get involved? How can outcomes be measured and reported? And this is really one of our challenges. I don't have a separate slide for challenges, but metrics in the alumni space is really tricky. I suspect your organization, like ours, is primarily geared towards student and research, and then for us, a third layer would be things like philanthropy and donations. So we can measure participations and intersections really well in those spaces. But some of these alumni spaces, the university just hasn't invested the same amount of resources into things like tracking and registrations and such that would help us to measure. Who should be prioritized for engagement? We have an alumni base, as I mentioned, of 525,000. Some of you, it sounds like your institutions are also quite large and have been around even longer. Your alumni base may be bigger. So we can't reach everyone. And sometimes the message to try to reach everyone ends up engaging no one. And so we have to kind of prioritize. We know, for example, our facility for rare isotope beings, the FRIP, which is kind of in the company of the CERN in Switzerland, is due to come online, I believe, this year. And so we're prioritizing engaging alumni in the space of physics because we know we're going to have some really interesting things for them to weigh in on and hear about. And who are the priority institutional partners to involve? And that could be internal, the partners inside the university who stand to gain the most from having engaged alumni. So even they might be willing to help pay for something, or they might be willing to include alumni in some things that they're already offering because they are more likely to benefit. And then those external partners that could be like industry, or it could be social groups that, or it could be conferences that alumni in specific degree fields are going to be spending a lot of time with, and so if we can find a way to be present. So let's go back to the students. So starting with students. So current students, they're a captive audience. For at least for us, they are. The majority of our campus is in person in East Lansing, and a lot of it is actually residential in the undergraduate. So they are right there. So creating meaningful ways to connect large numbers of our current students to engaged alumni will add value to their university experience. It will provide additional support to staff while socializing students to alumni behaviors that we hope they adopt in the future. And we found numerous ways for alumni to reach thousands of students annually, regardless of the number of hand raisers that we have from our alumni. One thing that we did that was unique, and I know not everybody's going to have the opportunity to do this, but we created a job within our office. This person reports to me. I'm actually the senior director of alumni engagement. And the role is the Director of Student Engagement in the Alumni Office. And they are the go-between what we're trying to do with our alumni in the field, be it domestic, be it internationally, and our student-facing partners on campus. So they build the relationships with some of the priority units that we're seeing here mentioned below. Admissions, which is the area of our campus that recruits our next class of students, right? And student life. So as I mentioned, we have students that live on campus. We have about, I think, 14,000 that live on campus each year. And so they have a lot of social and resources, social experiences, resources built around them that we can engage in. And our student life also, I'm sorry, that's residence life. I've already got this wrong. Our student life is like our student groups, which is a big thing in the United States. I'm not sure how that fares elsewhere. We have groups that do community service. We have fraternities and sororities. We have honor society groups, and so we have an office that really keeps track of all of that. Our career services team, many here have already talked about career. That really is a nice point to leverage. And a service learning office. In the United States, some of our students have required community service in order to earn their degree. And so this person knows the individual in that office. So some of the things that we do to create intersections that are fun also for the alumni and student. Michigan State has a big recruiting thing every summer where thousands of people can visit campus if they're thinking about attending Michigan State University, and we have alumni that volunteer there. They show them around, they point to the dorms that they used to live in, they talk about their favorite study place on campus. We have alumni that come together, sometimes in small groups, sometimes virtually, and write letters welcoming students that have been accepted to Michigan State University with one of their favorite stories of what it was like to be a student, and then they send those letters, and we do not give out student data. Don't worry, we don't have alumni calling and writing the homes of our admitted students. But they do these letters for us, and we can track who's actually done it and how often they've done it. I mentioned we have residence halls on our campus. And so every year when students move back onto campus, we have alumni. We invite them to come back to sign up to help move students into their dorms. And they can often move students into the dorms that they used to live in, and it's really fun. We have platforms. We have, I think it's like a people growth platform. I'm not sure what tech products you guys have. That's called Msu Connect. It's a large virtual platform that has areas of commonality across the university and can also be divided by college, faculty, in the world, that has a lot of career services and virtual networking. We have thousands of members in that. We have a Hire a Spartan job board where alumni can go and post positions within their companies. Alumni come back to career fairs. We try to have our career services partners ask at every opportunity, are you an alum? And let us know when that happens. And so it kind of feels like all of MSU is involved on stewarding that relationship. We have alumni that are hosting visits for students in their companies. We have a fun thing that we do over our spring break, one of our breaks that we take, where our colleges will take students, maybe in groups of 15 or so, to specific cities and visit multiple companies in an industry, and they will partner with the alumni office to find key alumni in each of those organizations to serve as hosts, and sometimes even have a little reception with them. And we get involved with student group and student services fundraising initiatives. One of our most successful things, and this is actually the last thing that I have, we have found, and particularly now, I mean, the world has so much bad news, and it's hard sometimes to even have people want to focus on what we're doing at an institution. And there's so much around the world that feels like it needs to be a priority. Service has been a really powerful common thread. Students are, this young generation is very service inclined. Our alumni, when you're young and you're entering a new community and you maybe aren't even established yet as a professional, finding ways to get together with other alumni in service projects feels very safe, feels very welcoming, more experienced alumni. It's multi-generational, it's multicultural. And so we have established a SERVE initiative. We have a global week of service, and we also encourage service year-round, and we built a website around it where people can put projects up that other alumni will then find out about it in their communities and can participate. Students can put projects up that alumni can join in on. Alumni put projects up that students can join in on. We can track it as a metric. It goes right to their alumni record to say, yes, you know, Lisa volunteered 20 hours over the past year with these people. And it's been a very positive thing for us. These are just some pictures of some of our alumni intersections. We have a mascots party. We do have sports organized. The United States is just sports crazy with basketball and football. We do have lots of opportunities to build social experiences and interactions for alumni around these experiences, but we really do try to focus more on some of our academic and career spaces, because that is, at the end of the day, what we're here for. That's the priority. And we found when we wandered more into the sports spaces, we ended up in those situations where alumni wanted us to give them things and give them really fun experiences for maybe not a lot of money, and you can't afford to do it that way. So in terms of how we're funded, though, real quick, I'm going to work that in because it was specifically asked. Our staff positions are funded centrally by the university, really with the thought that our roles help bring more people into the fold that do end up becoming donors of the institution, significant donors of the institution. That is a big model for us. The other piece is we have corporate relationships, sponsorships. We have certain types of relationships where like insurance companies, if X number of alumni buy policies, we get a piece of it. There's that kind of thing. We have licensing. We have this mascot of Sparty. He's known pretty broadly, and when his image gets used, the university gets to charge a licensing fee, and we get a piece of that. And we do charge for our events. And we make it really clear there was nothing about your time as a student that you were paying towards that set up this fund that we could just provide free experiences for you as an alum. So it's very clear that if you really want vibrant alumni experiences, you've got to be a part of paying for that so it can happen. So that is it.
Thank you very much, Lisa. It was very, very interesting, and I think you earned a great applause. Please. And I have a question for you. You have more than 500,000 of living alumni. It's really, really a big potential. Do they want to involve? Do they want to help to their former educational institution?
Yes, they do, and not everyone does, of course. We have the same situation too, where some people, they came to the university for a specific transaction, and they got their degree, and then they're on with the profession. A lot of our students we're a land-grant university. A number of our students were first-generation college students. They come from modest means, and so Michigan State really created an opportunity for them to have life-changing experiences, and they're very rare for that. And many times those are the individuals that want to come back and be the most involved to be sure that students that are coming from situations like theirs are supported, remain supported, especially as the expense of university continues to grow in the United States. For example, it costs, I believe, about $20,000 a year, US dollars a year, to attend Michigan State University just in tuition. And so that's prohibitive for a lot of people.
Thank you very much. Martin, do you want something to add to this?
First of all, thank you for having us. Darko is a great champion for alumni efforts, and I appreciate him reaching out to us. But I will say that Lisa's office does a wonderful job at creating that interconnectedness that we're able to raise resources for, whether it's for scholarships, as she's talking about the cost of higher education, because those are very compelling issues for people to want to support the university. So it's a very porous environment where we work together in tandem oftentimes. So.
Thank you very much, and I hope we'll have opportunity to see your beautiful university. Thanks. Thank you very much. A mi, dame i gospodo, idemo i dalje. Sad je vrijeme da nam se obrati glavni organizator ovog skupa, čitavog ciklusa Alumni priča. Pozdravimo predsjednika Saveza društava bivših studenata Sveučilišta u Zagrebu, čovjeka koji je neumoran u organizaciji ovakvih događanja. S nama je profesor dr. Marin Fak. Možda nisi njim. Marin, izvoli.
Mislave, hvala. Okay, I will combine English and Croatian language because of our guest from abroad. First of all, thank you very much for your willing and time. I will say to be part of this brainstorming, we have opportunity to combine, to compare different approach from America, from Europe, and our activity. Darko, molite samo slajdove prezentacije, obzirom da su moje vrijedne suradnice Paula i Petra to pripremile. University Alumni Association try to be a platform and to give logistic support for all alumni activities in whole university. You are publication, you are alumni stories, which are based of good stories of our alumni, how to improve our alumni activities. No, da se vratim na hrvatski, dajte da sad ispred Saveza, ispred Sveučilišta pozdravim, već sam danas malo pričao o tome, doajene, što prometne struke, ipak smo na Fakultetu prometnih znanosti, što alumni aktivnosti, moje drage profesore Vakovića, profesora Emeritisa Radića te profesora Pavlina. Vi ste osnivali našu alumni udrugu, učili smo od vas, hvala na tome, i udarili ste temelje svega ovoga što je prisutno u Hrvatskoj, pogotovo na našem fakultetu, vezano za alumni pristup, alumni aktivnosti. Koliko trajemo? 20 godina, čini se u Americi to malo duže već traje. Sam Savez, ponovit ću na hrvatskom, platforma, logistika za sve alumne aktivnosti. Naravno, imamo nekakvu klasičnu misiju aktivnosti, spomenuo sam ih, vezane za promociju što bolje možemo napraviti u smislu da nam se ukorijeni da moramo biti vjerni svom sveučilištu, svom fakultetu, uvijek mu se rado odazvati kad nas se zagnjavi, kad nas fakulteti sveučilište pitaju u smislu unapređenja novih studijskih programa, u smislu pomoći sadašnjim studentima, zapošljavanja, učenja njihovog položaja, pozicije i svega ostaloga. Rekoh, danas sam već o tome govorio, to postoji i danas, ali mi želimo sustavnost u tome i zato radimo ovakva druženja, ovakve radionice, ovakve alumni priče, gdje ljudi na svom primjeru pokazuju što znači biti dobar alumni i što znači biti posvećen svom sveučilištu, što onda dovodi do bolje pozicije sveučilišta, točnije bolje pozicije svi u nas koji smo vezani za sveučilište i svoje fakultete. I believe for today workshop and today stories that every of us can have some conclusion with small question, with small but very important question, how I can be a better alumni? We must start from ourselves and promote that kind of philosophy to another people. Let's try to do this. I sad, obzirom da nam vrijeme polako curi, ja mislim da bi trebali krenuti na glavnu priču. Rekoh, sve ovo ćemo ipak lakše napraviti, uvažavajući činjenicu da su alumni aktivnosti pro bono aktivnosti, da su to volonterske aktivnosti, sve to skupa lakše ide kad imamo i nešto novaca, što smo vidjeli na primjeru iz Amerike. Oni imaju nešto novaca, pa i malo više od nešto.
Da, oni su šokantni iznosi, jel?
Ali daj da vidimo kaj mi možemo napraviti, kaj se možemo pomoći iz tih EU fondova. tako da mislim da možemo krenuti dalje. Once more, thank you very much to another opportunity. Stay well, all best wishes.
Hvala lijepo Mariju Šafranu, molim se veliki pljesak za njega. Mariju već manje najavio, dakle naš sljedeći govornik bit će Marin Fak iz Eureka Consultinga. On će održati prezentaciju mogućnosti financiranja alumni aktivnosti iz europskih fondova. Izvolite, mikrofon je vaš. Bila je zanimljiva observacija, koja je stvari parafraza Kennedy, čini mi se. Dakle, nemoj se pitati što ti možeš učiniti za svoj bivši fakultet, odnosno što tvoj bivši fakultet može učiniti za sebe, nego što ti možeš učiniti za svoju alumni asocijaciju. Pa zapamtite to sve. Izvolite.
Ja ću iskoristiti ovu pauzu na programu i moram ići na druge obveze. Ja sam dosta dinamičan dan. Evo, hvala vam svima na dolazku u ime fakulteta i thank you to our international guests i see you next time.
Hvala lijepo, profesore. Hvala lijepo. Evo, prodekan nas je pozdravio, a pređemo sada na ovu prezentaciju u kojoj ćemo vidjeti koje su konkretne mogućnosti povlačenja novca iz sredstava europskih fondova. Izvolite.
Dobar dan svima, moje ime je Marin Fak. Evo već godinu i pol dana radim za tvrtku Eureka Consulting. Primarno dolazim iz agro sektora, znači student sam bio agronomskog fakulteta u Zagrebu. Kasnije sam bio djelatnik Ministarstva poljoprivrede skoro 11 godina. Nakon toga, evo, izašao iz sustava. Tako da u nekim stvarima mogu vidjeti kako sustav gleda na, ajmo reći, na djelovanje pojedinih aktivnosti prema EU fondovima i kako djelatnik određenih firmi gledaju na određene mogućnosti. Tek nedavno sam upoznat sa alumni aktivnostima na našem fakultetu, evo i oni su skoro zazvao na ovu priču. Današnja tema je mogućnost financiranja alumni aktivnosti iz sredstava Europske unije, znači ovo je zamišljeno kao jedan pregled puno mogućnosti, ali potrebno je dosta tražiti, znači u toj svojoj šumi raznih ponuda koje Europska unija nudi, kao i raznih domaćih izvora financiranja gdje možete naći određene aktivnosti ukoliko malo prilagodite vaš rad. Možemo na prvi slajd, evo ići, znači to je to. Ono što sam prvo vidio, a to je na web stranici Saveza društava bivših studenata Sveučilišta u Zagrebu. Malo sam vidio statut društva i malo mi se najviše dojmio ove djelatnosti. Tu je jedno od 7 djelatnosti koje su eto tu navedene, dobro, zadnje je ostvarivanje drugih zadaća. Ove koje sam zakružio, one mi se čine jedno kao ajmo reći, to nekakva aktivnosti koje će najviše odgovarati pojedinim temama za financiranje iz pojedinih EU fondova, kao tipa povezivanje u svjetsku akademsku mrežu, razmjene informacija i usklađenim akcijama, poticanje i pomaganje znanstvenih, razvojnih, stručnih, umjetničkih, izdavačkih i drugih projekata, te pomaganje u razmjeni nastavnika i studenata, te povezivanje naših iseljenika i njihovih potomaka s domovima. Na ta pitanja bih krenuo sa nekim temama sada, znači sa nekim možda rješenjima za neke, a to je ono što sam mogao naći što je dostupno. Znači to je program Erasmus+, koji u novom programskom periodu ima veliku količinu novaca na raspolaganju, znači program Europske unije za obrazovanje, osposobljavanje, mlade, sport, znači sastavljen je od nekoliko komponenata. Ima ključna aktivnost 1, mobilnost u svrhu učenja za pojedince, tu je najviše naglasak na učenike i osoblje, aktivnost sudjelovanja mladih. Ovaj mi je Discover EU, mi je žao što nije bilo u ono vrijeme kad sam bio malo mlađi, pa da kao 18-godišnjak mogu ići po Europi. Virtualne razmjene, to je sad u novoj fazi u području visokog obrazovanja i mladih. Ključna aktivnost 2, tu imamo stvarno pregršt aktivnosti koje bi mogli otvoriti sada, ali ne znam, malo smo se s vremenom partnerstva za suradnju, partnerstva za izvrsnost, partnerstva za inovacije, projekti jačanja kapaciteta, neprofitna sportska događanja. Zajedničko svim ovim aktivnostima je razmjena iskustava, razmjena studenata, razmjena ideja, razmjena znanja i razmjena raznih aktivnosti, odnosno i traženje raznih partnera koji će omogućiti, kako se zove, koji će omogućiti razvoj vaših projektnih ideja. Ključna aktivnost 3 je podrška razvoju EU politika i suradnje, znači inicijativa Mladi zajedno, Mladi Europe zajedno, kao i aktivnost želimo ne u području visokog osiguranja, znači poučavanje i istraživanje o europskim integracijama. Naravno, EU voli da se njihove ideje razvijaju odnosno da se stave u prvi plan. Tko su ovi korisnici? Kad bi zbrojio sve ove aktivnosti, korisnici moraju imati poslovni nastan na području Europske unije. Naravno, pojedini programi govore, odnosno u projektnim dokumentacijama, odnosno u projektnim dokumentima kaže da koje još treće zemlje bi mogle sudjelovati u takvim aktivnostima. Znači, tko bi mogao tu sudjelovati? Znači, sve one organizacije koje djeluju na području obrazovanja, osposobljavanja mladih ili sporta. Ajmo dalje. Ono što sam, jučer je bila prva radionica vezano za prijavu projektnih prijedloga na Europe, znači program suradnji koja financira Europska unija, njihov proračun je za ovo programsko razdoblje za 70 milijuna eura. Naravno, taj program još nije odobren, ne se čeka odobrenje, ali već je krenulo u ovaj prvi, kako se zove, poziv. Ono što iz jučerašnje prezentacije smo mogli vidjeti da je jedan široki krug raznih partnera sa svih krajeva Europe koji će moći prenijeti razne ideje kako je i u desk officeru koji nam je držao ovu prezentaciju kaže da svi oni koji će, ne morate biti inovativni u prijavu ovakvih ideja, nego samo preuzeti iz nekih drugih krajeva Europe te onda koristiti takve ideje na ove ciljeve. Znači, bitno vam je to da bi se trebalo ove ciljeve pratiti, znači projektni pregled treba bi pratiti ove ciljeve, Smart Europe, Greener Europe, More Connected Europe, More Social Europe, Europe Closer to Citizens i Better Regional Governance. Tko mogu biti korisnice, evo između ostalih koji su tamo navedeni u cijelom spisku njih, kaže obrazovne i istraživačke institucije, sveučilišta i istraživački centri, odnosno naveli su još jedan ovako općenito public law bodies and private non-profit bodies, tako da u nekim, ajmo reći, širim formama, uz malo nekakvih dodatno lobiranje, mogli bi, eto, i barem ja to tako gledam, da bi se mogli i alumni i institucije javiti na tako nešto. Naravno, trebalo bi čekati da se malo vidi još završni dokument. Ono što je taj cilj, jučer kad je bila ova prezentacija, rekao da ovo prvi poziv, na prvi poziv će biti 130 milijuna eura dodijeljeno, odnosno intenzitet potpore je za institucije 80%, za ono profit bodies 70, a prijave su počele, ja mislim, danas i traju do 35. Ove godine. Kao odluke će biti do kraja godine. Ako hoćete, dobro, idemo dalje na sljedeći slajd. Ostale mogućnosti koje sam ja vidio, a direktno se tiču struke moje i alumnija iz kojeg dolazim, znači to je poljoprivreda i ruralni razvoj, znači ono što je dosta nedovoljno iskorišteno u ovom programskom razdoblju, a nadamo se da će u ovom buduće biti puno bolje, znači to je poveznica poljoprivrede sa raznim drugim sferama, znači digitalizacija i zelena Europa, tu je dosta bitno europsko inovacijsko partnerstvo. Putem pojedinih mjera se pojedine stvaraju se te nekakve partnerske grupe koje financira ovaj program. Također imamo europsku mrežu za ruralni razvoj gdje svi organizacijski oblici kao i sve ove institucije mogu biti dio toga, a tiče se pitanja provedbe programa ruralnog razvoja, naravno i stvaranje razmjene informacija vezano za ruralni razvoj u raznim dijelovima Europe. Ajmo dalje, znači ostali fondovi. Ovo mi je bilo jako interesantno. Ako bi mogli na ovoj funding and tender opportunities, javlja se ovako jedna stranica Europske unije, Europske komisije, gdje je ovdje 34, ja mislim, raznih mogućnosti gdje se neko može javiti. Sad, stranica ima gore tražilicu prema ključnim riječima, naravno kada se kliknuli na pojedini ovaj fond, imamo razne mogućnosti gdje bi, barem po nekim ključnim riječima, gdje možete naći koji je vaš projektni prijedlog, odnosno što bi mogli nešto financirati, što imate vi zamisao. Nisam rekao da i na onoj stranici Interrega ima dosta interesantnih tražilica vezano za traženje vaših projektnih partnera. Projektne partnere mislite da vam je teško naći ako ne znate gdje. Na samim stranicama postoje određene dijelovi gdje možete naći matchmaking projektne organizacije i putem njih stvarati tu jednu mrežu sa svim sveučilištima iz Europe, a kroz Erasmus može i međunarodno, odnosno izvan granica Europe. Nadalje, imamo tu jedne i nacionalne mreža, odnosno nacionalna zaklada za razvoj civilnog društva, to je jedna javna institucija za suradnju, povezivanje i financiranje organizacije civilnog društva. Naveo sam to jer imaju velikih mogućnosti za financiranje. Evo i moja, odnosno tvrtka u kojem ja radim, provodimo jedan program takvog tipa. Vezano je za knjiga na kotačima, znači tako da jedan dio priče gdje bi mogli pojedini alumni pomoći u razvoju primarno ovih nerazvijenih područja. Nacionalna zaklada ima svake godine plan kako se zove, aktivnosti koje će financirati, tako da bi možda bilo dobro za 2023. da i alumni udruge budu sastavni dio ove priče povezane sa financiranjem. Nadalje, neke od mogućnosti su i Ured za udruge Vlade Republike Hrvatske. Naravno da postoje tu isto javni popis financiranja raznih aktivnosti kroz takav tip, kroz financiranje putem iz državnog proračuna, putem iz sredstava Europske unije. Naravno, kad sam ja radio unutar ministarstva, često su nam dolazili takvi upiti što se može financirati kroz ovakav jedan pristup. Nisam dobio nijedan vezano za ovakve aktivnosti. I još jedna jako dobra stvar što smo možda čuli i u ovom javljanju iz Michigana, bilo bi možda još i bolja suradnja između ministarstva, odnosno upravljačkih tijela. Znači svako upravljačko tijelo ima i svoju nekakvu tehničku pomoć, kao što primjerice ima program ruralnog razvoja. Program ruralnog razvoja ima svoje nekakve ciljeve, odnosno ta tehnička pomoć zadužena je za promotivne aktivnosti, odnosno zadužena je da bi se lakše proveo taj program u programskom razdoblju. Tako da smo imali kao pojedine aktivnosti, sudjelovanje pojedinih profesora, odnosno fakulteta kroz znači raising awareness, odnosno dizanje svijesti o nekim aktivnostima ili kao gosti predavači o nekim temama koje su bile zanimljive. Mislim da je prošle ili prethodne godine bilo povezano sa digitalizacijom poljoprivrede. I evo, da ne govorim dalje, znači grad Zagreb ima isto jedan veliki broj raznih aktivnosti koje bi se moglo financirati, znači vezano za udruge. Te, baš sam gledao, jučer su završili, rok je bilo jučer za prijavu takve aktivnosti. To nisu velike cifre, ali eto, svaka kuna je dobro došla, pa možda i da se podigne svijest vodstva grada Zagreba da postoje ovakve nekakve potrebe za financiranje ovakvog vida udruga. Evo, hvala još jedan put, to je to. A sad, evo, ako vi imate pitanje.
Ajmo čuti, imali pitanje iz publike, dakle čuli smo neke konkretne prijedloge. Dignite ruku, ja ću vam prići, nakon dok ćete moći adresirati svoje pitanje našem predavaču. Ako ga nema, hoćemo na ovom sistemu ruski dobrovoljac, pa da ja do nekog došli. Će me, ja vidim profesor Pavlinić je u prvi red. U vaše vrijeme, kada su postojale ovakve mogućnosti, calo bi vam 1000 cvjetova, što vi kažete?
Gledajte, kolega govori o tome šta postoji mogućnosti financiranja izvana iz institucija koje su za to i predviđene. Međutim, naše iskustvo iz početka je bilo da su ljudi, neki čak i sami, konkretno u Splitskom okružju, su nam studenti naši pronalazili posao, radili posao ekspertize, čak i studije neke i dobila za to novac. S tim da novac nije bio podijeljen među ljudima, stavili u škrabicu, to su putovali po svijetu i išli na sajmove, savjetovanja, tako da taj jedan dio vi niste mogli obratiti, to nije vaše, vi ste dobili s fondova, jel? Ali ni tada nije bilo. Bili su vrlo tanki fondovi, bilo je i malo ljudi, kao što je danas. Inače, vi ste pitali kolegicu iz SAD-a, oni su imali 340.000, mi imamo oko 10.000 završenih diplomiranih studenata, bar toliko diplome u zadnjem našoj monografiji, kad sam taj dio obrađivao, smo imali otprilike, jel? Sad je možda već 11, jel? Tako da nije ni veliko, ali ni mali, jel? Za mene je tih 10.000 ljudi teoretskih, od kojih su ne znam koliko ti si Darko najbliži, koliko ima članova, vrlo malo, jel? Dakle, to je vam jedan velik roster ljudi, od kojih svako od njih ima neko svoje životno iskustvo. I za mene treba biti neki pametan šef koji će znati u datim uvjetima, prema problemu u kojemu dođe, da izabere njih 3, 4, 5, zavisno...
Je li Babić pametan šef?
Je, on je bio moj tajnik, između ostalih.
Ajmo onda, hvala vam lijepa, gospodine Babiću. Dakle, čuli smo, to je u stvari veliki bazen, 10.000 ljudi. Hvala vam lijepa, gospodine Fak, vas ćemo onda uputiti na mjesto. Biće prilike, ja ću vam prići onda pa ćete moći ćete dalje komentirati. Vidim da svi žele zapleskati. Ajmo, za gospodina Faka je pljeska. Dakle, 10.000 ljudi je dobar bazen, međutim problem je upravo s tom motivacijom, jednom malom grupom, kako to zovu, kulturtregera. Dakle, oni koji guraju, oni koji su motivirani, koji rade. Šta vi kažete na ove akcije? Prekrasan sunčan dan, kampus, dvorište, zelenilo. Trebamo samo roštilj i vi ste stvari riješili.
Da, i puške za paintball. Mislim, da, to je jedan, sad neću, mislim, problem je, da, generalno problem, ja sam s profesorom Pavlinom krenuo, profesor Pavlin je bio predsjednik i evo, sa Marijom, ja sam možda 19 godina, Mariju je 20, bile su prije malo bolje akcije. Ja sam zato i u prezentaciji stavio da je bilo tada puno više ljudi koji nisu bili sa fakulteta, bili su ekipa iz ministarstva, bili su ljudi iz autoškola i tako dalje, koji su ipak bili iz nekakvog privatno javnog sektora, koji bi onda zajedno s nama s fakultetom nešto odradili. Međutim, sad zadnjih par godina jednostavno taj dio, ta generacija je, neću reći otišla, ali jednostavno nije više toliko zainteresirana, a novi mladi ljudi gledaju posao, gledaju svoje obitelji i tako dalje i niko se ne želi realno baviti s tim. Sad, bilo bi super tu posložiti 50 puški i nešto baciti na roštilj, ali to neko treba platiti. Čak i takva najjednostavnija akcija, znači treba neko kupiti paradajz i luk i meso i to je to, mislim, ali to treba neko organizirati i dogovoriti i tako dalje, tako da sve to opet na kraju dolazi do nekakvih financija. Mi imamo sad neke ideje, prijavili smo se bili prije 2-3 godine na nekakve projekte, nismo prošli, ali evo sad, nadam se s Marijom i tako dalje, uz našu pomoć, da se dobije jedan smisleni projekt, da se odradi jedna kampanja i tako dalje. Znači, vani mi smo sa Belgijancima pričali, oni idu i po školama i tako. Mislim, Amerikanci su potpuno druga priča. Oni su vidjeli da su 1.600.000 skupili u jednoj akciji donatorskoj. Mi to ne možemo skupiti da donira 100 godina idući doniramo. Tako da to je drugačiji je stil, drugačiji je princip, ali dobro, mislim, svejedno, da se vratim opet na početak, mi su bili jedna, vi možda znate koliko je bilo udruga u vrijeme kad je osnovana naša udruga.
Slušaj, na sveučilištu?
Da.
Između pola i 2/3 s fakulteta ima.
Ne, manje. Ne.
Prebacit ćemo mikrofon tamo. Ajmo, evo imamo već imamo polemiku, klizeći start ovdje. Profesore, slušamo vas.
Krivo govoriš. Ovako, 2001. godine, profesorica Mencer bila je prorektorica, profesor Jeren je bio rektor, oni su pokrenuli inicijativu da se krene sa većom aktivnošću osnivanja alumnija na Zagrebačkom sveučilištu. U to vrijeme svega su bilo 3. Anko, 3. Mi smo bili 4.
Koji su bili?
Kemijsko-biološki?
Bila 4-5 godina prije nas.
Da.
Ja mislim da je medicina bila prije nas.
Medicina, kemijsko-biološko-tehnološki, jer je profesorica Mencer to jako gurala i insistirala na tome i tako dalje. Sad, idemo ovako reći. Vidite, kad je došla ta ideja, razgovarao sam s profesoricom Mencer, koja kasnije i naša Marija angažirala i evo danas je na poziciji na kojoj je. Ona bi rekla da to svakako probamo, međutim, mene je potaknulo u sljedeće. Kad sam još bio student, profesor Zvonimir Jelinović sa Ekonomskog fakulteta, moj uvaženi profesor od kojeg sam diplomirao, on je 6 mjeseci predavao u Zagrebu na Ekonomskom fakultetu, a 6 mjeseci je predavao u SAD-u. I jednom prilikom kad se vratio sa tog putovanja, onda nam je u ono vrijeme nije bilo takvih sredstava da smo mogli ovo sad, videokonferencije i sve ostale priče, ali nam je pokazao slajdove.
Možda ste osobno ići onda tamo.
Da.
Pustite priče, ajmo i mi tamo.
Pokazao nam je slajdove i tad je on govorio upravo o tome da Amerikanci su u New Havenu, na tom univerzitiju, da su već imali formirani te alumni, jer su i onda je pokazivali, recimo ograda oko kampusa, ne znam, sufinancirao je bivši student, jasno, lovaš, tako dalje, i na osnovu toga smo mi krenuli. Sanko, još nešto si trebao reći. Mi smo imali jako veliki otpor na fakultetu, da šta će to nama, da šta ovo i tako dalje. Evo, Mario je tu i profesor Pavlin, pa i profesor Dadić, mi smo paralelno vodili ZIRP, znanstveno savjetovanje koje smo osnivali u alumni i sljedeća stvar je bila komora diplomiranih inženjera prometa, koje smo sve osnovali. Međutim, ali sve te priče, to je bilo jako teško lomiti jedan lobi starih profesora koji su odupirali se svemu. Hoćete od uvođenja studenata, uvođenja nekakvih inovacija. Kad smo radili, tu je bilo negdje spomenuto isto tako Bolonja i bolonjski procesi. Koje su to borbe bile? Na kraju mi smo ostali na starim programima, tek sad, evo, vidimo ovaj prolog.
Jel se profesor Dadić odupirao ili se podupirao?
Pa on je, nije on oponirao, on zna na koga ja mislim. I on je podržava te neke...
On je čime nećemo izgovoriti.
Ne, nećemo. Nije jedan, ima njih dosta. Tako da ja mislim da vam prikažem cijelu priču. Nažalost je tako kako je. Sad, apropo ovoga, kako doći do sredstava? Jako teško. Dajte zašto? U našem gospodarstvu mi još uvijek imamo situaciju da ne prihvaćaju se studenti koji su završili, recimo, kaže, šta će nama ovaj bakalar? On niti je pečen, niti je kuhan, kakva znanja je stekao. Mislim, mi tu moramo voditi borbu i kada se ti naši studenti, ne samo naši, nego svi studenti na Zagrebačkom sveučilištu, kad ih priznaju kao takve, onda će cijela priča...
Jeste li u Americi imaju Spartan Jobs, dakle njihovi alumni zovu studente, angažiraju ih na ove povremene poslove da ljudi nešto zarade za vrijeme studija.
Da, što je logično. Pa evo, mi kad smo, Mario, ti isto znaš kad smo osnovali ovaj zavod za prometnu logistiku, mi smo surađivali sa firmama, žalost jer Konzum je završio, odnosno Agrokor kako je i tako dalje, onda je došla na...
Znači, Todorić vas je volio?
Jako volio, da. Pa naši studenti su bili gore, mi smo stali studente i tako dalje, nije bilo nikakvih problema. Došla je mjesec na 2008. godina, i tada smo uspostavili smo jedan sustav, i to dobar sustav, i krenuli smo s njim u gospodarstvo i u multinacionalne kompanije i sa predavanjima, sa edukacijom i tako dalje, školama. I nama je bilo dobro, isto tako, da se razumijemo, kolega Togonal. Tako da je to sve super funkcioniralo i onda je došlo ono što je. Prvo će ga...
Znači, govorite o krizi 2008. kada je sve kleknulo i stalo. A nakon tog se krize zaredale serijski, evo sad, više ne znaš koja će doći sljedeća.
I onda se, čega se prvo odriču? Odriču se edukacije, odriču se team buildinga, ne, to im je jako zgodno otići negdje na rafting ili ovo, kad je neko spominjalo štilje i te stvačice. Evo, ja vas ne bih htio previše zamarati. Cijela priča, zapravo, znači, oko našeg alumnija je krenula 2001. godine, a mi smo je osnovali 2002. godine i isto tako je krenuo nam. ZIRP je malo više, Mario, koliko je ZIRP je 20 i... A? 2001. je bio prvi. Da, to je, on je godinu dana stariji.
Danas se ugledao Međunarodni kongres. Profesore, hvala vam lijepo, zaslužili ste veliki pljesak, hvala vam. I još mi je na kraju ostao naš ugledni profesor emeritus, bivši dekan ovoga fakulteta. Evo iz vaše sad umirovljeničke perspektive, kako vi gledate na ovo? Kako stvari funkcioniraju i jeste li zadovoljni? Profesor Dadić, izvolite.
Hvala vam lijepa, mislim da sam iznimno zadovoljan svim ovim što se dešava. Zadovoljan sam tim što sam ovdje prisutan i zadovoljan sam što vidim da studenti Fakulteta prometnih znanosti imaju budućnost. Imaju budućnost iz više razloga, a jedan je, najvažniji je zapravo taj da su naši studenti najšire obrazovani od tehničkim znanostima, prirodnim znanostima u cjelini, zatim u ekonomskim znanostima i društvenim znanostima, i to im daje jednu drugu mogućnost, možda da su najkompleksnije obrazovani od svih studenta, tako dalje.
Dakle, ne proizvodite ovdje fak idiota, nego renesansne ljude.
Pa mislim upravo tako da su to renesansne ljude, da su u mogućnosti da prepoznaju najnovije tehnologije. Digitalna revolucija je zapravo prvenstveno vezana za promet. Od svemirske tehnologije pa do navigacije, autonomnih vozila i tako dalje, sve je to budućnost kojoj se ne možemo oduprijeti kad bi sve ih htjeli. I zato mislim da je budućnost naših studenta velika, a ovi ljudi koji to sad organiziraju će naći, nadam se, načina bilo u domaćem gospodarstvu, bilo u dobivanju sredstava i potpore Europske unije, da će to sve krenuti ili kreće već u dobrom smjeru.
Zato hvala vama svima, a drago mi je da ste vi ovdje danas, nisam znao da ćete biti, jer evo jedan od najkvalitetnijih, najpoznatijih novinara Hrvatske televizije je danas s nama.
Meni je drago da sam sam. Hvala vam lijepo, profesor. Evo, ja sam dobro. Hvala vam svima. Imam još koje pitanje iz publike za naše prezentere, predavača. Ako nema, ja predlažem da odemo na ovaj neformalni dio druženja. Dakle, čeka nas jedan domjenak u predvorju, a onda ćemo moći razmijeniti ideje i stajališta i mislim da će biti lijepo ova generacija koja objedinjuje iskustvo i ova generacija koja pokazuje mladost i ideje da će imati o čemu raspravljati. Hvala vam svima na dolasku i pozdrav do sljedeće prilike. Hvala vam.